Yeah. Good evening, everyone. In the last session, we discussed about what is a jar file and what is war file, how to deliver one software. If Java application we developed as a standalone, then it will be delivered as a jar file. If you develop a web application by using Java, then we will deliver that as a war file. If we develop enterprise application, then we will go for EAR file. So what is the difference between web application and a distributed application? Web applications are used for customer to business communication. Customer to business communication, end users can access web applications directly. Okay, next one, distributed application. Which application is called as a distributed application? Business to business. If one application is communicating with another application, then it is called as a distributed application. To develop distributed applications, we will go for web services, right? Those are called as REST APIs nowadays. Next one, how to create a jar file. To create a jar file, we are using jar command. Jar cvfe file name, entry point, and dot class files. Which all dot class files you want to keep in the jar file? By selecting those dot class files, we will create the jar file. Jar files are two types: runnable jar file, non-runnable jar file. What is the difference between runnable and non-runnable jar file? The jar which contains a entry point is called a runnable jar file. Other one is non-runnable jar file. Now we can create a jar by using this command. Then we can run the jar file using this command, java space -jar space jar file name. It is used to run the jar file. Then how to extract jar file? -xvf. What is the purpose of extracting? To see what all the dot class files available in the jar, what content is available in the jar file. To see that content, we are going for jar extraction. All right, yesterday we have seen what is the difference between path and class path. Got it? What is the difference between path and class path? Can anyone tell me what is the difference between path and class path? Path is used to locate wherever Java software is available. Class path is used to locate wherever dot class files are available. Okay. If a project contains several dot class files, that project will be packaged as a jar file. How to use the jar file in our project? Somebody developed a project. In that project, some classes are available. I want to use those classes in my project. Is it possible? Yes. That is rest of our 5 months of story. Servlets developed by Sun Microsystem. JDBC developed by Sun Microsystem. Hibernate developed by some company. Spring developed by some company. All those projects we need to use in our project. That means, so here servlet is going to available as a jar file. Servlet jar file we need to use to develop our web application. Hibernate will be available as a jar file. That jar file we need to use to develop our application. Spring will be available as a jar file. Spring is one project developed by some company. In that project, several classes are available. By using those classes, we need to develop our project. From now onwards, whatever the Java project we are going to develop, only JDK is not sufficient. Okay, only JDK is sufficient to develop only standalone applications. To develop the only standalone application, console based applications, we can go for JDK. But in the market, what is the demand? Only standalone or web applications? Web applications are required. Distributed applications are required. To develop that web application or distributed application, only JDK not sufficient. Along with JDK, we need to use some other softwares also, like servlets, Hibernate, Spring, Spring Boot, REST APIs. Several other technologies also we need to use to develop our project. If I want to develop a web application by using Java, I need a servlet, but servlet is not available in the JDK. Are you getting my point? Servlet is available as a jar file. How to use a servlet jar file in our project now? By using class path. Okay, so some companies developed some projects. By using those projects, we are going to develop our applications. For that, they will give the jar file. That jar file we need to use in the class path to load the classes, because my project will use servlet classes, my project will use JDBC classes, my project will use Hibernate classes. What is that Hibernate? Hibernate is our project. Hibernate is other company project. Hibernate is other company project. In that project, there are some classes available. There are some interfaces available. There are some methods available. I want to use Hibernate classes in my project. Okay, Hibernate project is available as a jar file. That Hibernate jar file we need to download, and we need to set the class path to load the classes of the Hibernate. From now onwards, class path is very important. Yes, right. What is the difference between path and class path? Come on, guys. Path is used to locate where our installed. Next one. What is the class path? Class path is used to locate where our dot class files are, jar files are available. Okay, so here I can set the class path for particular dot class file available in your folder, or my dot class files are available inside a jar file. So there are hundreds of dot class files available. 100 dot class files we will package as a jar file. For that jar file, we need to set the class path. Why we need to set that class path? What is the advantage? Compiler will identify that, okay, this class is not available in the current working directory. Let me check in the class path. Is that class available in the class path? Yes, available. Then load that class file. If the dot class file not available in the current working directory, compiler will check in the class path. If it is available in the class path, it will load that. If it is not available in the class path also, yes, it is going to give the error. Either class not found exception or no class def found error we are going to get. Now, are you able to understand what is path and what is class path? Yes. How to set the path and class path permanently? Environment variables. Note, if we set path and class path, if we set path and class path in command prompt, then what will happen? If I set them in the command prompt, what will happen? If we set path and class path in command prompt, then they are temporary. If we close command prompt, if we close CMD, then we will lose. We will lose them. How to set path and class path permanently? To set them permanently, to set the path and class path permanently, to set them permanently, we need to use environment variables. We need to use environment variable. So in the initial classes of our Java, we set the path for Java in the environment variable. Why we set the path in the environment variable? Yeah. All right, guys. So we understood how to set the path and class path permanently. Okay. So if you set them in the command prompt, they are temporary. If we close the command prompt, then we are going to lose them. To set them permanently, we need to use environment variables. Are you clear with this point? Yes. Next one. Here guys, when we purchase a product, we are getting user manual. When we purchase a product, we are getting user manual. What is the purpose of user manual? Guidelines, right? How to use that product, what all the things available in that product, the specification of the product will be provided as a user manual. Now we are learning Java. How we will know that what all the classes available in the Java, what all the methods available in the classes? How we will know that? Come on, from this side no voice. How we will know that? Now you know java.lang package. Okay, there is a class called string. How we will know that? What all the methods available in the string class? There is a API. There is a API. Now let's go to Google. Let's check here. JSE API. Sun Microsystem developed Java software. In that Java software, there are so many classes available and methods also available. How people will know that what are the classes available in the Java, what are the methods available in the particular class in the Java, right? For that, Sun Microsystem provided one API, that is JSE API. What is that? JSE API. Java Standard Edition API. Overview of Java Standard Edition API. JSE API I'm opening. So if you go to JSE API, here we can see what all the packages available in the Java, right? Suppose for example, if I go for a package called java.lang package, Java, there are so many classes available. One of our favorite class is string. Let's go to string class. Where is this? I got. How many classes are there? Okay. Let us go to java.io package. क्या हो रहा भाई? Network issue है क्या? Java.lang I'm using. Yeah, when I go for java.lang package, it will display what are classes available, what are the methods available. For example, if you take a string, string is one class available in the lang package. When I open that string class, and what methods are available in the string class. What is this? Can I call it as a documentation of JSE? Yes. If you go to this documentation, anybody can understand what is a string class. String is a final class. String is implementing so and so interfaces, and this is how we need to create string. What are the constructors available in the string class? What are the methods available in the string class? Everything it is providing as a documentation. So if I want to develop a Java program, I need to know what classes provided by Java, what methods provided by Java. As a programmer, how I will understand the classes and methods of Java? By using API. JSE API is available. To develop standalone applications, Java Standard Edition is available. To develop a web application, Java Enterprise Edition is available. How we have JSE API? Similarly, we have JEE API also. How we have JSE API? Similarly, we have JEE API also. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. So this API provided by whom? I developed this API, or Sun Microsystem provided this API? Sun Microsystem provided this API. What is the use of this API? What is the use of this API? Understanding about the software. Java is one software, right? In that Java software, what classes are available, what packages are available, what methods are available, everything it is providing for us. Now, I am developing Java classes. I am developing a project. My client asked me, give it to him. Can we write down the PDF and package? I mean, here Java people provided a document understand what are the classes available, what are the online people. Is it okay now? Is it okay now? Yes. Okay. Cool. Right, guys. Fine. So Java language provided one API. What is the use of that API? Today people are not energetic. क्या हुआ भाई? हाँ? Afternoon में नींद आ रहा है क्या? सांबार, सांबार effect. हाँ? क्या हो? Everyone is looking dull. You are not giving proper response to me. Thinking about 31st celebrations, हाँ? क्या पीना, क्या लेना, क्या करना बोल के? हाँ? Right. So what Java language provided some API for us. What is the use of that API? Understanding what all the packages available in the Java, what all the classes available in the Java, what all the methods available in the class, what all the constructors available, what is the purpose of the method, everything we can understand by using this API. Similarly, I developed one project. What is a project? What is a project? Collection of classes, several classes. Some projects may contain 100 classes. Some project may contain 1000 classes. Some project may contain 20,000 classes also. I developed a project. I am delivering a project to the client. Client asked me, hey Ashok, give me the documentation of the project. What classes you developed? What method? Suppose assume that my client is a technical person. My client is a technical person. He is also a software engineer. He gave the project to me. I developed that project. Now I am delivering a project to the client. Client asked me, Ashok, where is the documentation? How I will understand what classes available in the project, what methods available in the project, what is the purpose of the method. He wants the documentation of the project. Can I write down a paper, everything and give the paper to him? Is it possible? It is very difficult, right? Then what we need to do? We should also create a documentation like this. Understand? Java people, one microsystem created a documentation for us. That documentation we are opening and we are seeing what all the packages available, what all the classes available, what all the methods available. Similarly, for our classes also, we need to generate the documentation. Able to follow me? Yes. Now let us see. In Java starting, we discussed about comments in the Java. How many types of comments available? Three types of comments available. What are those three types of comments? Single line comment, multi-line comment, documentation comments available. Sir, what is the documentation comment? Those documentation comments are used to generate a documentation like this. Able to follow me? Here, when I open string class, what it is telling me now? String is a final class. String is a final class. String class represents character strings. All string literals are in the Java program such as ABC are implemented as a instance this class. So these all are documentational comments of that class. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Now, if you go to any predefined Java class, you can see for every class, some documentational comments will be available. when to use that class, what that class will do, what are the methods available, what are the constructors available. Let me go to our IDE. Let me show you string class comments. String is a predefined class available in java.lang package. Slow. Laptop, it's a good configuration laptop only. क्या हुआ इसको? AGB RAM तो सही ठीक है. Okay, fine guys. Let me create one project. File new Java project. I'm taking simple a demo application. Inside this project, I'm creating one simple Java class demo. In the demo class, I'm writing a main method, public static void main. I understood. My laptop is slow because I installed one video editing software. अभी मुझे याद आया था. Yeah. No. हमारा YouTube videos edit करने के लिए है. I purchased one camera also. Last 15 days I was at home now. There is nothing to do. My office also holidays, Christmas holidays, New Year holidays, 15 days leave, no work. So I purchased one camera. I started shooting videos at home. To edit those videos, I installed video editing software. That's why my laptop became slow. Fine. After 3 years of suspense, finally my students have seen my face in the video. Many of the people thought that I am 40 years old by listening my voice. Sub faculty, aged faculty. All the faculties who are teaching in Amirpet are faculties when I am a student. Right. Yeah. Now I created a string variable, right? String str is equal to empty. Now, if I open the string class, if you see, on the string class, can you see all these things? What are these things, guys? Can I say this is documentation comments now? Here, class represents character strings. There is one line in the 43, right? If you go to API, can you see? So how this text is coming on the API? How this text is coming on the API? It is a documentational comment. So when we started our core Java, I explained that there are 3 types of comments in the Java: single line comment, multi-line comment, documentational comment. What is the purpose of single line comment? If you don't want to compile one line of code, you will go for single line comment. When we will go for multi-line comment, if you don't want to compile multiple lines of code, we will go for multi-line comment. What is a documentational comment? That is used to provide metadata of the code. What is that code? What is that class? What is that method? Who developed that code? What parameter that method will take? What return type that method will give? The information about the code we will represent by using documentational comments. Based on those documentational comments only, this documentation got generated. Okay, guys. So this is the documentation of our JSE API. Similarly, for JEE API also we have a documentation. Forget about it. Now, for our classes, I want a documentation like this. I am developing a project. My project contains several classes. For those classes, I want to generate a documentation. Can we do that? Yes or no? Yes, let's try. Let me take one simple Java class. Work. Let me delete everything. Yeah, new class. Let me take a class with a name called user.java. User.java. Public class user. Public class user. Now here I'm taking one variable, private, integer id, string name. Now here I'm writing public user zero param constructor. I'm writing a zero param constructor. Similarly, I'm going to write a parameterized constructor also. Public user int id comma string name. Okay, how to initialize the variables? This dot id is equal to id. This dot name is equal to name. So I'm taking a class with two properties and one zero param constructor, one parameterized constructor. Let me write some methods also in the class. Let me write some methods also. Public void get age. I'm writing one method called get age method. This method will return simply return age. Okay. Similarly, I'm writing a method public void get id. Public int get id. Get id return id. Okay. Similarly, public string get name. It is going to return name. Return name. There are two methods available in my class. Okay. That's it. Close. I have a user.java class. Now I want to generate documentation for user.java. I want to generate a documentation for user.java. We know how to compile the class and we know how to create a jar file, how to run the jar file. First time we are creating documentation, right? What is the meaning of documentation? Metadata. Data about the data is called metadata. Now let me use a command called java doc. What is the command? Java doc space user dot java. Let us see in this folder how many files available currently. Only one file available. What is that? User.java. Now I am executing a command java doc space user.java. Enter. Oh my god. See here what happened now. HTML files created, JS file, JavaScript files created. So many files got created. Okay, which command I have used? Java doc space user.java. Now, in all these files, index.html is called welcome file. Okay, right click on this file, open in the browser. Wow. What happened now? What happened now? Magic, huh? No, I created documentation for user class. I created documentation for user class. If I open user class, what happened? How many constructors available? Two constructors available. What are those two constructors? Zero param constructor and parameter constructor. What are the methods available? Get id, get name. Now you see, let's stop here. Public class user extends object. Am I writing that logic or it is by default super class? It is by default super class. By default it is super class. Okay. So are we able to understand how to generate a documentation for the project? Java doc space user.java. If you have multiple Java classes, star.java. If I have multiple Java classes, then what I will do? Star.java. When I use star.java, for all the Java classes, documentation will be created. When the documentation is created, we will go to index.html. We will open the index.html in the browser. When I open index.html in the browser, what is happening? It is showing me what all the classes available in our project and what all the methods available, what are the constructors available, everything we are able to see. Clear? Just make a note. Understand? Yeah. API. What is API? What is API? Let's make a note of that. What is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. API stands for Application Programming Interface. What is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. API stands for Application Programming Interface. API contains set of classes and interfaces. API stands for Application Programming Interface. API contains set of classes and interfaces. API stands for Application Programming Interface. API contains set of classes and interfaces. Sun Microsystem provided JSE API and JEE API. Sun Microsystem provided JSE API and JEE API. Sun Microsystem provided JSE API and JEE API. JSE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop standalone applications. JSE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop standalone applications. API stands for Application Programming Interface. API contains set of classes and interfaces. Sun Microsystem provided JSE API and JEE API. JSE API and JEE API. JSE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop standalone applications. JEE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop web applications. JSE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop standalone applications. JEE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop web applications. Now let's take two boxes. Now first box is JSE API, second one is JEE API. This is JSE API and this is JEE API. In the JSE API, we have core API, we have stream API, we have core API, we have stream API. Similarly, we have JDBC API. JDBC is also one of the API, is part of JSE only. Core API, stream API, JDBC API, utils API, util package API is available, utils API is available, okay, networking API is available. Like that, there are so many APIs available in the JSE. Coming to JEE, we have servlets API and we have JSP API. Servlets API and JSP API is a part of JEE. One API contains several other APIs. Inside the JSE, core API, stream API, JDBC API, utils API, network API, Like that, there are several APIs available in the JSE. Similarly, in the JEE, we have servlets API and we have JSP API. Just make a note of those two boxes. I'm preparing the base for advanced Java. You need to develop the projects, right? Class, method, that concept is gone. Now we need to think like a developer. We need to think about the project's development. Why I am asking you to write it is, when I'm explaining, you will listen. When you are writing, you will remember that concept. That is the reason I'm asking you to write it. Okay? These concepts are very, very, very important to start advanced Java. Without knowledge on these concepts, you can't understand first program also in the advanced Java. It will help you to revise when you are writing on the notebook. Completed, guys? Yes. How many APIs provided by Sun Microsystem now? 2 APIs provided. What is API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. What will be there inside the API? Set of classes will be available. Set of interfaces will be available. JSE API having some classes, some interfaces. JEE API also having some classes and some interfaces. By using the classes available in the JSE API, string class, buffer reader, scanner, system, those classes we are using to develop standalone applications. Similarly, in the JEE API, we have servlets API, we have JEE API. In that servlets API, some classes will be available, some methods will be available. By using servlet classes, servlet methods, we can develop a web application in the Java. Similarly, JSE concept is also there. JEE concept is there. JSE contains some classes and interfaces. JEE contains some classes and interfaces. Now, here Sun Microsystem provided JSE and JEE. That contains set of classes and interfaces. How we will understand what classes available, what methods available in those APIs? That's where documentation available. Okay, make a note. To understand classes and interfaces available in those APIs, to understand classes, methods, to understand classes, interfaces, methods available in the API, Sun Microsystem provided documentation for us. Sun Microsystem provided documentation for us. Sun Microsystem provided documentation for us. Okay, so this is the URL. You can access documentation. Docs. Just no need to write it. Just if you go to the Google, if you type JSE API, it will navigate to that URL, right? So docs.oracle.com Java SE 8 docs API. Java SE API documentation we are able to access. So this documentation is available for everybody or available only in my system? Available for everybody. So can we call it as a web application? Yes, the documentation can be called as a web application or not? Yes, documentation can be called as a web application. 1 minute, guys. Same. Yeah, the documentation is available for everybody. So we can call that a documentation as a web application, right? So this is the URL. By using this URL, we can access Java SE documentation. With this documentation, we can understand what all the classes available. In that class, what constructors available, what methods available, what is the parameter of the method, what is the name of the method, what is the return type of the method, everything we can understand based on this documentation. For JSE, documentation is available. Similarly, for JW also, documentation is available. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Can we create such kind of documentation for our projects also? Yes or no? Is Java providing that option? Yes. By using which command? Java doc command. By using Java doc command, we can create the documentation for our projects also. Right. To understand the classes, interfaces, methods available in the APIs, Sun Microsystem provided documentation for us. JSE documentation is available. JW documentation is also available. Tomorrow, suppose Oracle is releasing new versions of Java. Java 8 documentation I'm seeing. How I will understand what are the new features available in the Java 9 or Java 11 or Java 17? Yes, for every version, there will be a documentation. I need to go to that documentation. I need to see what are the new classes, what are the new methods, what is the purpose of the method, what is the parameter, what is the return type. So whenever a new version comes, we need to check the documentation of that version, what all the new classes added, what all the new methods added. So similarly, how Sun Microsystem provided documentation for JSE and JW API, we also need to create the documentation for our projects. Next, make a note. How to create such kind of documentation? How to create documentation for our project? Saya, windows open jaye. Guys, can you open those windows? Suffocation aa raha hai bhai. हाँ, open करना. And all the windows. That one also, man. That background back. Oh, wala. These windows also. गर्मी लग रहा है मुझे. Still people are not believing that is me. Huh? Face not found exception. Okay, right guys. How to create a documentation for our project? To create a documentation for our project, we can use below command. To create documentation for our project, we can use below command. Okay, syntax Java doc space star dot Java. Java doc space star dot Java. This command will create several HTML files. The above command will create several HTML files. We need to open index.html file in the browser. Index.html file in browser to get documentation of our project. Okay, we need to open index.html file in browser to get documentation of our project. We need to open index.html file in browser to get documentation of our project. Index.html file is called as a welcome file for the web application. Tomorrow when we go for Angular also, index.html file will be available. When we go for React also, index.html file will be available. That is a welcome file for every web application. We need to open index.html file in browser to get the documentation of our project. Note, to provide metadata of our classes and methods, we will use Java documentational comments. To provide metadata, to provide metadata of our code, I mean to say classes, methods, interfaces, we will use Java documentational comments, documentation comments. Java documentation comments. This is the syntax for that, na? Like this. To provide metadata of our code, we will use Java documentational comments in the class. Java documental comments. That's it. Yeah. To create a documentation for our project, we can use below command, Java doc command. We know Java C, we know Java, we know Java P, and now we know Java doc. What is the difference between Java C and Java P? Java C is used to compile. Java P, profile, which is used to profile. That means to see what is there in the dot class file, we can use Java P, Java profile. Got my point? Yes. Now what is the purpose of jar command? What is the purpose of jar command? To create a jar file or to extract the jar file. jar-cvf to create the jar file. jar-xvf to extract the jar file. What is the purpose of Java doc command? It is used to provide, it is used to create the documentation. Now, in our Java class, where is that? User.java. Can I write some documentational command? Documentation slash double star and star slash. Here star, this is user class. This is user class, and here I'm going to specify author as something like this. Okay. Now let me regenerate the documentation. Java doc user.java. I have regenerated the documentation. Refresh. Are we getting that message? This is user Java class. Are we getting that message or not? Yes, we are able to get that message. This is user class. Okay. Now for this method, is there any information available about the method? Is there any information available at the method? No. Can I write some documentation for that method also? This method is used to get the user ID. How can we write it? How can we write it? Yes, right. This method is used to get user ID. Right. Similarly, this method is used to get username. This method is used to get username. I am writing some documentation. Okay. Let us regenerate the documentation. Same command. Java doc space user.java. I have regenerated. What happened? Completed. Refresh. Now, are we getting that message? Yes. Get ID one method is available. This method is used to get user ID. This method is used to get the username. Instance methods, concrete methods, all methods, right? Constructors, user constructor, zero param constructor, constructor with parameters. I have generated documentation. So this documentation is developed as a web application. Who created this documentation? It is created by Java doc command. Now you understand what is the API and how to understand the API? Yes. What is the API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. API contains a set of classes and interfaces. Sun Microsystem provided which APIs? Sun Microsystem provided JSE API and JWE API. What is the difference between JSE API and JWE API? JSE API contains set of classes and interfaces which are used to develop standalone applications. So what can you tell me some classes available in the JSE API? String, object, class, system, scanner, arrays, so many. Thousands of classes available in the JSE API. How we will understand what are the classes available, what are the methods available? By using documentation. Who provided the documentation? Sun Microsystem provided that documentation. Similar to the JSE, one more API given by Sun Microsystem, that is JEE, Java Enterprise Edition. In that JEE API also, some classes available, some methods available. Those classes and methods are used to develop web applications. They are used to develop web application. Servlet API, JSE API. Servlets and JSPs are part of JEE. They are part of JEE. Perfect. Okay. How to create the documentation for our project? By using Java doc command. Okay. Whenever we okay, fine guys. So with this, we got it. What is the documentation and how to create the documentation for our project? We understood that. Next, we understood what is the path and what is the class path also. Fine. Now, assume that I have user class now. I have a user class in my project. Whatever the task we have done yesterday, right? Same thing I want to do it now through IPI. Sorry, IDE. Did you guys complete this task? Working? Class path, are you able to do that? Yes. Now, let us see. Okay. Now I want to tell you how to set the class path in the IDE. Okay. Yesterday we have seen class path setup in the command prompt. Okay. But tomorrow, are we going to develop projects in the command prompt? Notepads? They will develop the projects. IDE. Then how? We need to set the class path in the IDE. In the IDE, class path is called as build path. What we will call it as? Build path. Build path and class path both are same. Build path and class path both are same. Now, I'm going to create, now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create two projects, guys. I'm going to create two projects. Let us see. I'm going to create two projects. So this is my application 1. This is my application 1. And in this application 1, I will create one class called user.java. In this application, I will create one class called user.java. Now, I am going to create one more application that is called application 2. I'm going to create one more application called application 2. In the application 2, I'm going to create one class called test.java. Okay, user.java is one class, test.java is one class. Both are created in the same project, or both are created in the two different projects? Two different projects. Now, user class object I want to create in the test class. Are you clear? Same, whatever we have done in the last class, that we have done through command prompt. Now today we are doing through IDE. Okay. So in advanced Java, every project we are going to develop by using IDE. So in the first application, I will create user.java. Whatever the user class available in the first application, that class I want to use in the second application. Okay. What is the process? What is the process? What I need to do now? Think. Take 2 minutes of time. Think and tell me the solution. User class object I want to create in the test class. User class will be available in one project. Test class will be available in the another project. These are two different projects. One project class I want to use in the another project. Think. Take 2 minutes of time. आराम से सोचो. One project class I want to use in another project. Yesterday we have done the same thing, right? First one, we need to develop application 1 with user class. Then we need to package that application as a jar file. That jar file we need to set as a class path for the second application. That's it. Samjha? Are you clear? Can anyone tell me my requirement? What is my requirement? One project class I want to use in another project. One project class I want to use in the another project. How one project class we will use in another project? Through jar file. First project I will export as a jar file. That jar file I will set as a class path for the second project. Then I can access the classes of the jar file, right? Can we do that now? So I want to do that through IDE. Yesterday we have done that through command prompt. Now I want to do that through IDE. Observe carefully. Let me create my first application. Let me delete this. Yeah, deleted. File, new, Java project. Now observe guys, I'm creating a Java project. Here I'm giving this name as app1. App1, click on next, click on finish. One project is created. One project is created. In this project, I am creating one class with a name called user. I'm creating a class with a name called user. That's it. User class I'm creating in the first project. Okay. In this user class, I'm taking integer ID. I'm taking string name. I'm taking 0 param constructor also. And I'm taking parameterized constructor as well. Integer ID comma string name. This dot ID is equal to ID. This dot name is equal to name. Okay. Next one. Public void speak. I'm taking public void speak. So here system dot out dot println hi I am name. That's it. Okay. Hi I am name. So first we will create the object by using this. Then we are going to call the speak method. User class is available. User class is created in which project? App1. Now, can I create this project as a jar file? Can I create a jar file for this project? What is a jar? Collection of .class files. Why we need a jar file? To deliver the project. To deliver the project, we need a jar. So this is a standalone application. Can I create runnable jar file? No. Is there any main method? Not for this class, right? For this class, we don't have a main method. So we cannot create a runnable jar file. But still, can I create a jar for this project? Yeah, user.java is available. Do I need to compile, or my IDE will compile this automatically? IDE will compile automatically. That class file is already created for user. Now tell me how to create a jar. Come on. Do I need to go to command prompt to create the jar now, or command prompt is not required? Not required. When we need to go for command prompt, if you are developing a project by using notepad, then we will go for a command prompt. Now I am developing a project by using IDE. So directly from IDE, can I create a jar file? Yes. Right click on the project. What is the option? Export jar. Jar or runnable jar? Jar. Why not runnable jar? Main method is not there. Okay. Jar. Next. Destination. Where you want to create the jar. I want to create the jar. This is app1.jar. Click on save. Okay. Overwrite the existing files. Export source files also, or only .class files? Only .class files. Click on next. Click on next. Click on finish. Yes. Now go here. Can we see app? Let me do one thing. Let me delete everything here. Let me do that once again. Export jar, next app1.jar, next finish. That's it. Our project is exported as a app1.jar. So where is the user class now? Where is the user class now? Inside the jar file. Okay. Now can I delete this project? Is it required for me? Is it required for me? No. I can close it. Instead of deleting, I am closing that. Now let's go to file, new Java project. I'm creating application 2. I'm creating application 2. Click on next, click on finish. I'm creating my second project. In the second project, which class I'm going to create? Test.java. Okay. Application 2 I am using. In that application 2, new class, I'm using test class. Inside the test class, I want to write a main method. I want to create the object for user. Where is the user class now? Jar file. That is in the project 1. That is packaged as a jar file. Application 1 class I want to use in application 2. One project class I want to use in the another project. What is the process? That application 1 is packaged as a jar file. That jar file I need to refer in the application 2. Sir, why are you teaching all this nonsense for us? I will show you. You got the doubt now? Why are you developing one class in one project, another class in another project? Why don't you develop two classes in one project? Yes or no? If I develop two classes in one project, no need of creating jar file, no need of creating the class path, no need of setting the class path. हमारा काम easy हो जाएगा ना? Wait. Anything, JRTPR, Spring Boot, कुछ भी. People are thinking, sir, what is this, sir? That project, this project, jar file, class path, build path, कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा. हाँ. Can you see here in our project class we implemented security for the project. To implement the security for the project, let us see how many jar files we have used in the project. What are these things, guys? Spring Boot jar file, okay? Spring AOP jar file, Jackson jar file, Tomcat jar file, WebMVC jar file, Spring Boot jar file, Lombok jar file, Tomcat jar file, Jaxby jar file, Jaxby jar file, JUnit jar file, JSON jar file. How many jars are there? XML jar file. If you want to develop a project, so many jar files we need to use. What are those jars? There are some projects. There are some projects. Spring is one project. In the Spring project, there are some classes available. I want to use Spring project classes into my project. How can I do that? Come on, guys. Spring is one project which is having some classes. By using those classes, I want to develop my project. So Spring project classes, if I want to use in our project, Spring project jar files we need to add to our project class path. That is what we have done. Got it? So now, without understanding this concept today, tomorrow, can you develop a servlet application? Can you develop a JDBC application? No, because for JDBC, we need to use one jar file in the class path, then only JDBC program will execute. If I want to develop a web application by using servlet classes I want to use. Do we need to develop the servlet classes? Already Sun Microsystem developed. Already they developed. How to use their classes in our project? By using jar files in the class path. Are you clear? Are we learning anything for time pass? Why we are discussing this jar files and all? For future. To learn the concepts in the future. You got the clarity? Right. Now, here I have a application 1. In the application 1, there is a class called user.java. That application 1 is exposed as a jar file. That user class available in the jar file, I want to use in my application 2. Okay, how is it possible? One project class we can access in the another project? Yes or no? How to do that? Whatever the jar file is created for the first application, that jar file we need to add to the class path of the second application. Are you clear? Yes, chalo, let's do that. Now, application 1 is created. That application 1 we packaged as a jar file, app1.jar. Can we extract that jar file and can we see what is there in that jar file? Do you know how to extract the jar? Yes. Let me go to command prompt. Tell me the command to extract that jar file. Come on, guys. Jar -xvf app1.jar extracted. Oh, user.class is available? Yes or no? So application 1 we developed. In that application 1, user class we created and we exported that application as a jar file. So that the user.class file is available in the jar file. I want to use this user class in my second project. Can I use one project class in the another project? Yes or no? Yes, we need to use this in the second project. Let's go to our application 2. In the application 2, I created a test class. Inside the test class, I want to use the user class. Where is the user class? Application 1. How to use application 1 in the application 2? By using jar file. Application 1 is exported as a jar file. That jar file I need to use in the application 2. Observe. Right click on the application 2. Right click on the application 2. There is an option called build path. What is that, guys? Build path. Build path is equal to class path. What is the purpose of class path? What is the purpose of class path? Come on, guys. Class path is used to locate where the .class files are available. Now I want to locate user.class. Where is that user.class? app1.jar. Where is app1.jar? In my system only. I need to tell to application 2. Hey, application 2, take that jar file. In that jar file, user class is available. Take the user class from that jar file. I need to tell that information to my application 2. Are you clear? Yes. Now, right click on this application 2. Now I have a question. Application 1 using application 2 or application 2 using application 1? Application 2 using application 1. Now, which project jar I need to add to which project build path? Application 1 jar file I need to add to the build path of application 2. Are you clear? Tomorrow, servlets will use our project or our project will use servlets? Our project will use servlets. Then what we need to do then? Servlets jar file we need to add it to our project build path. Are you clear now? Why we need to go for build path? Why we need to go for build path? To use the classes available in the jar file. To use the classes available in the jar file, we will go for build path. If you are developing a program by using Notepad with the command prompt, then you will go for class path. If you are using IDE like a Eclipse, Spring Tool Suite or IntelliJ, then we will go for a concept called build path. Class path and build path both are same. They are used to locate where the dot class files available or where the jar files are available. Are you getting anything confusing? No? Easy? Not easy. You will not get these concepts in the YouTube also. Nobody will explain you these concepts. Nobody will explain you these concepts. You have to learn only in the class. And that too, without these concepts, you cannot learn advanced Java. These all are the fundamentals to go for advanced Java. Good? Yeah. Chalo. Now, my application 1 is exported as a jar file. Application 1 jar file I want to use in the application 2. Right click on the application 2. Then go for build path. Then click on configure build path. Able to see the option? Right click on the application 2. Go to build path. Select configure build path. When I click on configure build path, now we are getting an option, source option, projects option, libraries option, export, import, order export option is available. Now we need to go for a tab called libraries. We need to go for a tab called libraries. So that means whatever the jars we are using in our project, they are called as jar files, libraries. Whatever the jars we are using, those jars are called as libraries of our project. Tomorrow, I need servlets library to develop a web application. Tomorrow, I need Hibernate library to develop our application. I need a Spring library to develop our application. Okay, we are going to add libraries in the build path. Libraries nothing but jar files that we are going to use. What is the meaning of library? Come on, what is the meaning of library? Library means a jar file that we are going to use in our application. Okay, now again tell me how to set the build path. Right click on the project, go to build path, go to configure build path, then libraries. Here add external jars. What is the option? External jar. Jar is available in my IDE. Jar is available in some directory. Available in the, where is the jar available? Where I stored my jar file? In my work directory, right? Jar is available in some folder. From that location, I want to add the jar file to my build path. Can I call it is an external jar file for my IDE? Yes or no? It is an external jar file for my IDE. So here I need to select, right click on the application to भाई ये क्या कर रहे हैं इधर उधर एक ही साइड देखो ऑफ हो रहा है क्या? हाँ अभी क्लियर, हेडेक आ जाएगा भाई. सेटअप करना है यार उसको. Right, now see, application 2 is available. Right click on the application 2. Right click on the application 2. Then build path, configure build path. Configure build path. Right, go to libraries. Add external jars. External jars. What is that? app1.jar. app1.jar. Okay. Select app1.jar. Is that correct jar? Yeah. app1.jar. Click on open. Now can you see that jar is added to the build path? Yes. Click on apply. Apply and close. Now can you see in the application to reference library? Can we see reference library is available? Yes. Along with the reference library, can you see rt.jar by default for every project rt.jar is available. What is rt.jar? Runtime. What is there in that rt.jar? All the Java classes are available. Now do you understand why we are able to use a system class directly, scanner class directly, buffer reader, file reader? From where their classes are coming? rt.jar. Who provided rt.jar? Sun Microsystem. Whenever you create a Java application in the IDE, by default, rt.jar will be available in the build path. Because of that build path only, we are able to use all the Java classes to write our code. System.out.println. What is that system? A class available in the lang package. Where is that class? How that class is coming to our project? That class available in the rt.jar. rt.jar is available in the build path for our project. Are you getting now? Are you clear? Yes. Now with this I am able to get the reference to the library. There are two libraries available for application 2. What are the two libraries available for application 2? JRE library, reference to the library. JRE library is a default library which contains all the Java related jar files. Reference to library is available app1.jar. So what is the meaning of that? My application 2 can access all the Java classes provided by Sun Microsystem, and it can access all the classes which are available in the app1.jar file. That means my application is referring to app1.jar file. app1.jar file I have added to the build path of app2. Why I am adding app1 jar file to the build path of app2? app2 want to use some classes available in the app1. Now simple question. Tomorrow I want to use servlet classes in my project. What I need to do? Come on guys. I want to use servlet classes in my project to develop a web application. What I need to do for that? We need to download the servlet jar file. We need to add to build path of our project. That's it. Tomorrow I want to use Hibernate classes in my project. What I need to do? I need to download and I need to add to the build path. I want to use the Spring classes in my project. Download the Spring jar files used in our project. Now I have a question. Downloading Spring jar files, downloading Hibernate jar files, adding to my project build path, only our project requirement, it is the universal requirement. Only I am developing a Java project. So many people are developing Java projects. Only I will use servlets. Only I will use Hibernate. Everybody is using. So downloading the jar file, adding to the build path, can I say it is a repeated daily work? Yes or no? Yes, right? I want to develop a Spring project. You want to develop a Spring. She want to develop a Spring project. What we need to do? Everybody should download the jar file, should add to the build path. Right? Can I say it is a manual work? To overcome that manual work, there is a tool called Maven. What is that? Maven. What Maven will do? Whatever that work we are doing manually, Maven will automate. I will tell to Maven, Hey Maven, I want Hibernate. Maven will go to internet. Maven will download Hibernate. Maven will add the jar files to the build path. Are you getting my point? I want to use the Spring in my project. Do I need to download the Spring manually? No. I have a assistant. Who is that assistant for me? Maven. I will tell to Maven, hey Maven, I want a Hibernate. Maven will download the Hibernate. Maven will give the Hibernate for me. Are you clear? That is next level of coding. That is next level. That is a tool. That tools we will understand in the project batch. Okay. 20 plus real-time tools we are going to discuss in the project. Maven is one of the tools that we need to learn. Whatever the work that Maven will do in future, now we are doing manually. If I don't teach you this concept, if I directly teach you Maven, can you understand what is a jar? What is build path? What is the class path? No. So directly, can you come to second floor? No. First we need to come to first floor, then second floor. First we are doing all the manual work. In the next level, we will see tools. Whatever the work we are doing manually, that work will be automated in the future. After 30 days of time, I will teach you what is Maven. Then our work will become simple. Are you clear? Right. Now, I have added application 1 jar file in application 2. Now, am I able to create the object for the user? Am I able to create the object for the user? Where is this user class available? App 1. But where I am using, how come? How come? One project class I am able to use in the another project. How we are able to use one project class in the another project? Come on. Build path. What is a build path? What is a build path? Using jar files in the project. That is called build path. If you want to use one project classes in the another project, we will create a jar file for the project. That jar file we will add as a build path for the another project. Now let me create the object for user ID 10 and name some Raju. I'm creating object by using constructor user dot speak. I'm calling speak method. Let's run this project program. Run as a Java application. Okay. Hi, I'm Raju. Is it working now? Yes. Test class is creating object for user class and calling the user class method. But where is that user class? Where is that user class? app1.jar. app1.jar is added to my build path. Now let me show you here. I am going to use, this is my project. In my project, I am using user details. This user details class is available where? org.spring framework. That means my project is using Spring Framework class. How my project is using Spring Framework class? Spring Framework jar file is added to my project build path. Are you getting my point? Yes. Now see, my project build path is having all the jars. If you see all these jars, I have downloaded these jar files, or Maven downloaded these jar files. Maven. Why? If it is one jar file, two jar files, three jar files, I can download. But see how many jar files are there? See how many jar files are there in the project? How many jar files are there in the project? Can you see them? Is it easy to download all these jars and setting the build path? So we need a tool for that. What is the tool? Maven. Maven we are going to use as a build tool. Okay. But for now, let's forget about Maven. That is not required now. Maven we will discuss in the future classes. Whatever the build path we need to do for next 30 days or 40 days, we will set manually. Build path we will set manually. Do you know how to set the build path manually now? Yes. How to set the build path manually now? Right? Right click on the project, build path, library, add external jar, add the jar file to the build path. App1 project is packaged as a jar file. That jar file I used in the app2 build path. So what is the meaning of that? Application 2 can access all the classes available in the application 1. Application 1 is having user.java. Application 2 having test.java. Test.java able to use the user.java because application 1 package has a jar. That jar is added to the build path of application 2. Are you clear with this concept? Yes. What is the difference between path and class path? Path is used to locate where our Java software is available. What is the build path? To locate where our dot classes are available or where our jar files are available. What is a jar file? Collection of dot class files. Can we use a jar file in another project? How to use it? By using build path. How many ways we can set the build path? 2 ways, either from command prompt or in the IDE. If I set in the command prompt, set class path is equal to jar file name. If I go for IDE, right click on the project, build path, library, add it. What is the meaning of library? Jar files. Library is nothing but jars. Jar nothing but collection of dot class files. Okay. Now, when we create a project in the IDE, here JRE libraries are coming. What is the meaning of JRE libraries now? RT.jar, JSSE.jar, JCE.jar, JFR.jar, JAccess.jar, local data.jar. What are these jars? Java language provided some classes to develop our projects. Those classes are available in the jar file. Those jar files are available in the build path by default. For every Java project, JRE library is available in the build path. Because of that build path only, we are able to use the string class. We are able to use the system class. We are able to use the scanner class. System, scanner, all these are predefined classes available in the Java. That Java libraries are available in the build path of our project. Are you clear? In future, along with the Java libraries, some other libraries also we are going to use, like servlets, JSPs, Hibernate, Spring, Spring Boot. Those libraries also will come into our project build path. Based on Java libraries, based on Hibernate libraries, based on servlet library, based on Spring library, we will develop one project. Are you clear? Now our project development means Java libraries plus other project libraries also we are going to use as part of our development. That is the story. Clear? Good. Any questions, anyone? Inside the JEE and JSE, there are classes for distributed application. Yeah, let's make a note of that. Make a note. If we want to use one project classes in the another project, if we want to use one project classes in the another project, if we want to use one project classes in the another project, then we need to use build path. Then we need to set build path. Then we need to set build path. We need to set build path. We need to set build path. Use case. Use case. Use case. Take this diagram. App1 with user.java, app2 with test.java. Use case. App1 with user.java, app2 with test.java. app1 with user.java, app2 with test.java. User.java is available in application 1. User.java class available in user class available in application 1. User class available in application 1. User class available in application 1. Test class available in application 2. User class available in application 1 and the test class available in application 2. User class available in application 1, test class available in application 2. How test class can use user class? Next point, how to use user class in the test class. How to use user class in the test class. How to use user class in the test class. How to use user class in the test class. How to use that, guys? First, application 1 should be packaged as a jar file. That jar file we need to set the build path. That jar file we need to add to build path of application 2. Let's write that point. We need to package application 1 as a jar file. We need to package application 1 as a jar file. We need to package application 1 as a jar file. Then we need to add that jar file to application 2 build path. First we need to package application 1 as a jar file. First we need to package application 1 as a jar file. Then we need to add that jar file to application 2 build path. First we need to package application 1 as a jar file. Then we need to add that jar file to application 2 build path. Next note, build path means setting libraries to load. Build path is used to load dot class files or jar files. Build path is used to load dot class files or jar files. Dot class files are jar files. Build path is used to load dot class files or jar files. Do you know the process how to set that? Yes, just make a steps. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path, libraries. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path, libraries, add external jars. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path, libraries, add external jars. Select the jar file, apply. Select the jar file and apply. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path, libraries, external jars, select the jar file and apply. That's it. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Online people, any questions, anybody? Are you clear with the today's topic? Yes. So can you guys practice this example, whatever I have done in the class? Create one application with one class, export that application as a jar file, use that jar file in the second project build path and create the object for the class. So same process. Take one application, in that create one user class, export that project as a jar file, then create a second application. In the second application, create the test class. In the test class, you create the object for the user. User is available in the first application. First application should be added to the build path of the second application. You know how to create the jar. You know how to add the build path. Can you do that task? Yes. Now, all of you got the videos access? Everyone check that? Yeah. Notes also? Anybody who don't have the access, please talk to admin. So first, before talking to admin, first check it. Check your email. You got the mail from our application. You got the portal access for the notes. You got the portal access for the backup videos also. If anybody don't have it, please talk to admin. They will tell you how to access it. Okay, guys. Thank you. We'll continue in the tomorrow session. Java 8, we have the class today at 7:15. 7:30. 7:30. Sorry. Java 8 class we have at 7:30 p.m. today.